Hey, I'm the creator of Omneris and the Whipping Witch, and today I will keep adding to my circus troupe of horses by designing a nymph. So, with my previous characters, I've learned to draw animals, namely birds and horses, as well as water. So in today's video, I am going to be drawing plants. Now, admittedly, I didn't go very far. It's mostly just vines, but it's plants and it has potential to evolve. So yes, this is a nymph, a character entirely made of organic matter, I guess, like plants. She's a vegetable. And in Omneris, nature is blue, trees are blue, grass is blue, everything is blue, so she is also blue. With some purple, which is the color I use in every single one of these characters for my circus troupe. And I don't really know what I was thinking when I was designing her, but I started drawing ribs, and I gave her some really inhuman proportions, like she has a really tiny waist. But I liked it enough that I didn't bother trying something else. And once again, she's made of plants, she controls plants, so she is bound to evolve and she can change her appearance. I did do a close-up of the hand, and I did some purple there too, even though they are tendons and not bones, and like where I placed it on the rest of the body, but it does the job. And then, for some reason, I felt like doing a digital illustration of this character. For my previous videos in this series, I would design the character and then move on to my sketchbook, where I did a few sketches or drawings of them. But for this character, I did not feel like doing that just yet. And I just wanted to explore the possibility of the character, I guess, and how she would interact with, well, her hair in like you'll see in a moment, where she basically uses her hair like the piece of fabric in circus, like an aerial act thing. Whoa, that was hard to say. But yeah, she basically wraps her hair around her waist and dangles from it. So that's her act. And she just dances in the air, I guess. And yeah, I also don't know where this pose came from. I didn't use a reference. And I just twisted her, and I mean, I do want to get better at drawing such poses, but I didn't even think about it, and I was just like, yeah, let's twist her in every way possible. Her chest one way, hips the other, the head the same way as the hips. And then I thought really hard about the way the hands were, especially the left hand, where I was like, is that a left hand? Did I draw it correctly? Is the thumb on the right side? So yeah. But I'm really happy with the pose in the end, and with the illustration overall, really. At first I thought I would do some line art, but I ended up cleaning up my sketch enough that I didn't need to. So yeah, I just colored it, then added a layer of shadow, mostly to define the hair, which is, as mentioned, vines. They do have a bit of texture, but it's quite subtle, and it can only be seen from close up. But yeah, she does kind of look like an alien. I think I need to figure out more texture that would fit her. But I like the colors, so it's fine. And then for some reason, when it came time to try to draw her in my sketchbook, I was like, I'm not gonna draw her, but I'm going to paint. And that's something I haven't done in, well, years, I think. So yeah, I took out some very old acrylic paint I had. I think it's about 5 years old now. And it was still wet, so, I mean, liquid, it hadn't dried up. So that's nice. I didn't dare hope for so much. But yeah, I ended up taking out my paints, my paintbrushes, my palette. And I started with quite diluted paint for the background, just to remove all the white from the paper, you know? I ended up doing very minimal mixing because I already had most of the colors I wanted pre-mixed. So that was nice, since it has been, well, maybe over a year now that I haven't painted anything. So yeah, it was a nice way to get back into it. And yeah, I didn't feel like drawing her, especially not with paint, so I just drew some vines. Again, it's not really original, and it's basically just wiggly lines that I threw on the page and that cross each other. So yeah, nothing really complex, but I just wanted to paint something. And since it had been a while since I hadn't felt like that, I didn't want to disappoint myself by doing something too complex. So I took out the paint and I went easy on myself by drawing something, well, easy. But once again, I really do like the colors, so in the end I'm really happy with this spread. Even though you can not see much. That has to do with the fact that the acrylic, well, it does dry fast, but not immediately. So while it's still wet, it really reflects a lot of light. And I had my desk lamp pretty close. You can actually see its reflection in the water goblet, which is really funny. But yeah, and yeah, so there was this strong light coming straight at it, and half of my colors are actually iridescent colors, and that's basically all I bought when I got these paints, and it looks good, you know. I love iridescent colors, but it's just not the easiest to capture on camera. So yeah, but if it can make you feel better, I couldn't see anything either. From the angle I was at, basically every stroke I put down was the same color as what was underneath it, and there was no contrast, and the light was just reflecting really badly on what I was doing. But I didn't want to lean forward because I didn't want my head to show up on the video. So yeah, it was an interesting experience. So yeah, I added some lighter color on the top of the vines to try to define which ones were on top and which one were behind the others. And now I add some darker color to once again help with that sense of depth. And then I really had a lot of paints left, especially purple, and so I decided to add some flowers. And there's the same flowers I drew for the character, so it's not out of context. But I had kind of forgotten about them until I realized I had a lot of paint left. And I was like, ooh, I could make flowers. So yeah, that's what I did. And then I did mix some of the purple with the darker blue to add some shading. I was really impatient with this piece and didn't wait for anything to dry, which means that my paints were mixing on the paper when I didn't want them to. But since I was recording myself, I didn't want to wait and have to edit stuff out. So I just dealt with it and came back later with more paint. And when I switched brush size, I actually picked up the paint I had left on my bigger brush with the thinner one to not waste too much paint, and well, also not to put a lot of paint in the water, which would dirty that real fast. But yeah, I finally moved on to my smallest brush, and I'm adding even darker shadows to the flowers. There are several ones of them. And then I moved on to my gold paint. And I love adding a contrasting color in the end for highlights or really anything. It might not necessarily be highlights, it could just be small details, but like a contrasting color. And it really pops, and it doesn't show up on camera, but it really popped in real life. And so I add gold everywhere, because I felt like it was lacking contrast. But yeah, I guess my plan is working by creating these characters that make me get out of my comfort zone. Because if I hadn't designed this character, I wouldn't have gotten my paints out this week. So that's already a big win. And I am fairly happy with the result. It might not have been what I had expected when I first decided I wanted to paint, but I'm still happy with it. So, big win. Oh, and when I said I added gold everywhere, I meant it. There is gold everywhere. Because once I was done adding more highlights to the vines and the flowers, I just added random spots in the background to fill in the space, I guess. And to use more paint, because once again I had put out too much gold paint on my palette. I didn't mean to, it just all came out at once. Same for the purple. But rest assured, I didn't throw away the leftover paint. I picked up a separate piece of paper and I just put all the paint on that. And I'm thinking I might do some random lines with liner or something, like something satisfying. Or I could cut up that paper, but the paint has been used. And I will use the paper the paint has been used on. Anyway, to finish this piece, I decided to use more gold paint by painting the border gold, which I really like. It really pops out. And then I had so much paint left I couldn't put the brush down. But yeah, my paper did warp quite a bit, and you can actually see kind of stripes in the video because of the folds the paper made, and because the light isn't fully above, it's kind of on the side. But yeah, it still looks nice. And with the white border, it's just gorgeous. So yeah, on the one side you have the yellow light of my lamp, on the right side you have the window, which is colder, but yeah. Here's the final result.